What's up, guys? Welcome to today, and we're going to sim the 2016-2017 NHL season of the Chicago Blackhawks here on NHL 17. So let's take a look at their lineup before we actually move on to simulating the season. So first off, we got Panarin, Taves, and Kane. Then we got Hossa, Anisimov, Panik, Hartman, Kruger, Tutu, Ramson, Desjardins, and McNeil. Before you go telling me these lines are terrible, they are the best lines made by EA. I have no part what to do in the line conception whatsoever. So then we got Keat, Seabrook, Campbell, and Jan Marson, Van Riemsdyk, and Roosevelt. So I do believe that the Blackhawks really strengthened their D this year. They got Campbell coming in there. I feel like he can be a great player in their top four. And, that's one of the issues the Blackhawks used to have was their defense. They also got Ville Polka that could make an impact this year in the NHL. In front of the net, we, as always, have Corey Crawford and Scott Darling backing him up. So the Blackhawks clearly have a stacked roster with the emergence of Panarin here. Potentially an X factor in Hartman or McNeil. I don't know, maybe even Richard. No, I'm pushing it with Richard Panik. Or maybe even Ville Polka. So the Blackhawks are clearly contenders and have a few youngsters that could come out and have huge seasons. So that's it, guys, for the lineup overview. I'll see you guys when the season is over and the Blackhawks will probably be in the playoffs. Okay, guys, the season is over and we actually make the playoffs, and I accidentally simmed the first playoff game against Dallas. So we finish on a pretty strong note with, how many wins? 49, that's pretty good, and 4 losses in overtime. So a pretty strong season for the Blackhawks. Now let's take a look at their players' stats here. So Panarin picks up 1 assist in the first playoff game, but he picks up 67 points, which is decent. Jonathan Toews, who struggled a bit last year, picks it up this year with 73. Nice job, Jonathan. And Patty Kane goes to 82 points, but 48 goals. That's pretty impressive. Richard Panik, we're not really going to care about. Hossa, who didn't have the greatest season last year with 33 and 64. Comes back scoring 25, getting 49 points. That would be a great contribution to the Blackhawks. On defense, Duncan Keat. He tallies 60 points. That's pretty darn good. Brent Seabrook goes to 34. That's not his best season ever. Yamerson picks up 15. I'm surprised he only got 15 here, but what really intrigues me is how much does Brian Campbell get? 26. I expect him to actually be close to 40-ish. Playing with the Blackhawks. I feel like he's going to get some great opportunities on the power play. Ville Polka actually came into the NHL, made his impact. How many games did he play? He played 4 NHL games, but he's now a starter with the Blackhawks, taking the place of Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Corey Crawford, how good of a year did he have? 39 wins, 24 losses, 2.26 goals against average, 924 save percentage, and 8 shutouts. Pretty similar to what he had last year. Good season from Crawford. So before we actually move on to sim to the playoffs, guys, if you want some pretty darn cool PlayStation 4 gear, sports gear, look at our links in the description below. We got a bunch of stuff. I do believe we have the Blackhawks version for the PS4, and I'm not sure if we do on the Xbox One. Worst case scenario, send us a message on Facebook, and we'll try to help you out. So let's sim the first 4 games here. After losing the first one, we definitely want to bounce back on home ice against the Stars, and we tie it up all 1-1 here with a 1-0 win. Again, we take the lead in Dallas. That's great. So home ice advantage is back on our side, and we're up 3-1. So I'll sim to game 7 since it's the first game we could actually get eliminated, but we can end this in 5 on home ice. And we haven't lost on in Dallas, and we still win in Dallas again here. So we go 3-0 on the road and 1-3, 1-2 at home. That isn't great. So next round we're playing the Predators. This one should be pretty darn easy. I do expect the Blackhawks to beat Nashville in this one. We lose again on home ice. We bounce back, and we get our first road loss in Nashville. Can we tie it up here without Jonathan Toews? That's going to be the major question. Taking out Jonathan Toews does make a huge difference in this series, actually. Nashville might win this. We get back Marion Hossa. We tie it all up. So do we win on home ice, or do our home ice struggles continue? We actually win in overtime, and we could eliminate them here in game number 6. So let's sim it here a little slower. Period number 1 goes to Nashville. They're up 1-0. Period number 2, still 1-0. So let's sim the third here. Can we get a comeback? Can we send this to overtime? Nashville get a power play, 5-on-3, 5-on-4. They don't capitalize. Can we take advantage of their missed opportunities here with 10 minutes remaining? And nothing is happening as of now. We got under 5 minutes to make something happen. 3, 2, 1, and we score with 29 seconds remaining. We're sending this to overtime. That's great. Nice job to Artemi Panarin to actually send this into OT. We get a power play, but we don't capitalize to stop the overtime. Another power play, and we do goodbye to the Nashville Predators. Richard Panik scoring the game-winning goal, and Panarin scoring with 29 seconds. So that's big. I do expect the Blackhawks to at least make it to the conference finals. Could they win a Stanley Cup this year? Of course, they're Chicago Blackhawks. Going up against Anaheim, a team that I do not expect to win anything this year, except maybe their division. We do take game 1 at home, and we keep on struggling on home ice to win the first 2 games. We win in Anaheim. Okay, let's sim it up to game 6 here. We pick up another W in Anaheim. Lose at home again. We've really struggled at home and driven on the road for some reason these playoffs. First period, still 0-0. Second period, 1-up Anaheim. So can we tie it again? Can we push this to overtime and win it in OT like we did against the Preds? Anaheim goes up 2-0. That's clearly not what we were expecting here. They get a power play, and at this point, it's a huge long shot to score 2 goals in 5 minutes. We've outshot them slightly, though. It's not a big margin. We actually only get 1 shot on goal in the last 5 minutes. Even if it goes in, that's not even enough shots to get the 2 goals. So that was slightly frustrating. So it all goes down to Game 7 on our home ice, where we've struggled so much this year. For some reason, the Blackhawks have been terrible on home ice. So let's go here. First period, 0-0. Second period, 1-all. So let's sim the third here, which determine who goes on to the Stanley Cup Finals. Corey Perry scores, gives his team the lead. Then again on the power play, they score again with Rickard Rakell. And it's 4-1. At this point, it's over. I'm just going to finish the sim. So we lose 4-1, the Blackhawks to lose in the conference finals. That's not crazy unpredictable. If I'm not mistaken, they were without Jonathan Toews. So it would be a huge upset if they could actually win and go on to the Stanley Cup Finals without Toews, their leader and their captain. Yep, they're without Jonathan Toews, which leaves them pretty darn weak up the middle. I mean, Nisimov's an okay number 2, but they don't even have a real number 3 center in my opinion. McNeil and Desjardins are clear Fort-liners. Rasmussen, whatever, however you pronounce that, clearly doesn't have anything more than bottom 6. So they're really tin up the middle, and their depth isn't great, but they have to pay big contracts to guys like Keat, Toews, and Kane, and it's worked for them. They've won, I believe, 3 Stanley Cups, so obviously they're going to keep with that strategy. So they would lose, and let's just advance today to see what the Cup Finals would be. It would be Detroit against the Ducks. It's a bit of a long shot. The Ducks do have a strong roster, and they do feel like they're a contender. I don't feel like they will make it to the Stanley Cup Finals because they haven't been clutch in a while. And then you got the Red Wings, which I think is a huge long shot, losing a bunch of leadership, and Pavel Datsyuk leaving away, and a bunch of production also, and replacing him with guys like Vanek and Franz Nielsen can get them in the playoffs, but to a Stanley Cup Finals is a bit of a stretch. But we were really interested is in the Blackhawks. So according to EA, they'll make it to the conference finals, lose Toews, and then obviously lose to the Ducks because they don't have Toews. So I do believe the Blackhawks are a contender, and a conference finals is something that is somewhere they could lose in. So that's about it, guys, for this sim. Subscribe for a bunch more sims, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have an awesome day.